Okay.
We got some stuff going on in the
What's
chat.
happening here? What's it just now? Let's open up for Q&A.
This is a whole different world in the chat.
What's happening in the chat?
So it started with this guy. He comes. He says, "Sheikh, I have Shams al-Ma'arif and I want to communicate with Jinn. I'm
Okay.
asking you, is communicating with Jinn haram or kufr?" You can't
First
keep.
of all, you take that book right away, if you're asking me, and you put it in the shredder.
And then he's saying, all I want to do is communicate with them. It can't be kufr, right? Muslim Jinn. I will do it. I'm not asking for shirk. I will never do dark sihr. I will never worship them. I am not trolling.
We don't. First of all, we don't chase after talking to jinn. It's a world of the unknown to us. Is talking to a jinn unlawful if it were to so happen that I could hear a jinn? The answer is no. It's what you do with it that's unlawful. As for seeking out jinn, I think that has a different ruling. I can't say exactly what, but it doesn't sit right for me that it's lawful or even permitted. I don't know that it's permitted to go learn how to talk to a jinn. You opening a door for yourself that is unknown, and you're getting an advantage over you may be getting an advantage over regular people. All right, that is unlawful for us. It's like that's a type of unlawful advantage. If you just worked harder than everybody else, that's different. But talking, let's hypothetically say a jinn came to me and talked to me. That's by itself is not the unlawful part. The unlawful is what do I do with it? And am I trying to seek it? Am I spending my time reading magic potions and spells just to talk to a jinn and different of God and learning Syriac? And that I believe, and Allah knows best, the seeking of it is a different ruling than it happening by itself. Is there a situation that it's lawful? Yes. Where magic had spread and injured the Muslims as an epidemic, as in India, Morocco, it's an epidemic. The shuyukh have a communal obligation to repel such harm. And sometimes that does involve them talking to the good jinn or extracting an evil jinn from a person. You want to hear a jinn story? There is a person that once told me that he has become adept at removing jinn from people. There is such a, we do believe in such a thing called jinn possession, but it's not an obligatory Islamic belief. Let me just put it out there for you. It's not obligatory or recommended to believe in jinn possession. However, Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal said we know it exists. We know it. Imam Ahmad's son himself said, can a jinn enter a person and take over that person's body? He said, yes, we've seen it. It's well known that it happens. Talks with a different voice, has enormous amounts of strength, etc. In any event, if you don't want to believe in it, no problem. There is no blemish in a person's religion if he doesn't believe that jinn possess people. You have to believe that jinn exists. You have to believe that jinn whisper to people. You have to even believe that a jinn can touch a person. But you don't have to believe in any circumstance that jinn can enter into people. Anyway, there's a reason I'm telling you this story, because there's a benefit. He extracted a jinn from a kid, and the jinn entered Islam. And he said to him, let me tell you Muslim something. The number one tool that we use against you is porn. Number one. Number two, anime.
No way.
That's what he said.
The jinn said that?
Yeah. He said that we use anime, people are addicted to it, and our goal is to make you Satan worshiper. If we don't make that goal, it's to make you an atheist. If we don't hit that goal, it's to make you gay. Not my words. Not my words. But I'm just passing it on to think that sometimes maybe anime is not so pure for everybody. It's not Mickey Mouse here. Maybe there are some other agendas behind that. And I personally didn't understand it because all I understand anime to be is a style. So it could be a good anime, could be a bad anime, right? But the question is, what's the majority? I think that's the fair approach. What is the majority, right? Is it good messages or bad messages? Because as I understand it, it's just a style. Like, why can't someone make a Muslim anime cartoon, right? Upholding Tawheed, right? Or just neutral, a neutral story about a boy and his dog or something like that, right? A neutral story. Is it possible? I think it is, right? I'm not an expert in this thing. Wholesome One agrees with me.
He's the one that was saying the Shams al-Ma'arif.
He's the one who wants to talk to Shayateen. Okay. To Jinn, I mean. Listen, I wouldn't go there. Wholesome One, stay wholesome. Don't get involved in the Jinn. Okay. Anime is a gateway. It's Atiq Rahman says it's a full of sexualization, and I was informed now that there is an entire field of porn that is anime.
Yeah.
And he said that that's sort of more crazy because humans, when a human being is doing pornography, there's a limit to what the human can do. But this is cartoon pornography. So do we have to give a ruling on cartoon pornography now? It's unlawful. I'll tell you why unlawful. The ruling in Islam is sexual pleasure in any way, shape, and form is only allowed from your spouse. Right? Even back in the old days, there was ma malakat yaminuk, right? Which doesn't exist anymore, at least in our world that we live in here. Okay? Maybe in Mauritania it exists. But, and in the future, who knows, that institution of the world may come back and the rules would apply. But ultimately, any kind of pornography, even if they created a pornography which was with objects, it would be unlawful. Sexual pleasure from looking, touching, thinking, what have you, is only lawful for your spouse, through your spouse. That's it. Wholesome One says anime is occult and obvious to the trained eye. Okay. A friend of mine who's in med school published an academic paper in a medical journal proving that anime causes autism. What?
There's a lot of overstimulation, I think, right? Like,
yeah.
And the idea of anime is like you're being sucked. A lot of these people, like, if you look at the ones who have gone into the deep end of anime,
yeah,
they're so out of touch with reality. Like, they're completely sucked into a virtual world of like characters that don't exist, and they've made their entire life about these people.
So first of all, I think the waste of time is a whole nother thing, right? But see, I can't. I transmitted what that Shaykh told me. He's a Shaykh, and he says he's warning everyone against anime. I'm just saying that I'm transmitting it because I believe him, but I don't have belief based on knowledge. You know what I mean? Like, I believe the source. I believe you. My level of belief is low because I don't have knowledge of it, right? And it was a bit surprising to me too, because all I know about anime is that it's a style of making the cartoon. But I also know that it's a waste of time. Waste of time at a certain point. You know what in our fiqh, yasirul lahwi halal. That's it. A little bit of meaningless entertainment is halal. Just to take, you know how in the movies they say drink some of this, take this alcohol, take the edge off. That's what they always say, take the edge off. So when I sit at the end of the day and I watch a couple highlights of something, and you watch some soccer or football, a little bit, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, we're not saying binging like this. Even if you were to spread it a little bit and watch a whole game, right? That's a big waste of time. 3 hours to do nothing, okay? On the treadmill, fine, at least you're exercising. But yasirul lahu, a little bit of waste of time is okay to, as they say, take the edge off. Relax yourself a little bit. These guys are watching episodes. The show is 1,000 episodes. And each show is, let's say, it's 20 minutes. 1,000 divided by 3. Let's say it's 900 divided by 3. 300 hours? Ertugrul was barely halal because of how much people watched it all night and barely woke up for Fajr. Let's watch the conquest and watch how Muslims conquer, and then let's miss Fajr. So, you got to keep in mind that, subhanAllah, just keep in mind the waste of time is one thing.
We need Moin for an anime episode. I think he knows a lot about this stuff.
Yeah.
And this is actually, like, you don't realize how much, how many of the youth are actually, like, obsessed with anime, I think. It's actually, like, not addressed enough.
Well, from the waste of time
Especially Muslims.
is easy to say, right? The waste of time is easy to say. The content of it, I trust my friend who told me this. I can't give you answers on knowledge, but he says that it never leads to righteousness. It always leads. There was one guy. He said that his. By the way, there are some Muslims who love anime. Okay, there was one guy who said that when he told him this, he made his kids stop watching anime. He said, Wallahi, the kid's attitude towards me improved over time. And when he was watching, his attitude towards me, like he talked to me so rudely, etc. Allahu Alam. So don't clip that part that we just said, the comment on anime, because I'm qualifying that by saying that I can't imagine how it's not possible to produce a good version of that. And here's a question for you: does it become almost like a good thing to produce a good version of that? Right? It's like, imagine if there were no Muslims on the internet, right? And all that existed on the internet was 90% bad stuff: gambling, porn, other waste of time. Someone would say the internet's haram. I think is similar to that, right? It's not the internet that's haram, it's what's on it that's haram. It's the messages and the excess that is unlawful. So it becomes synonymous because that's the only thing that's there. Do you notice that there's no one who casually watches that stuff? You're either an addict or you're nothing. I don't know anyone who casually watches it. You either know it or you don't. Yeah. But people are, it's either they're binge, like I can casually watch soccer, football, or basketball. Nobody casually watches anime. They're like all in, right? So it's the excess is one thing, the content is another thing. Jasmine Rice agrees and says, I saw friends hypnotized. Are there defenders of anime? You know who's a defender of anime? I'm not going to say his name. I know a couple. Is it halal to work in the tax sector? Ah, that's a good question. That is, I have to ask my Shaykh because that's a fatwa. Because taxation has limits in Islam. Taxation can only be either itemized for mass benefit. Like this town, there's no way for us to divvy up road use. Let's say we're going to pave the roads, costs us $5 million. There's 50,000 people in the town. That's some expensive roads. But 500,000, there's 50,000. That's how much per person? 10K, right? Or sorry, 1K, 1,000 per person. That's the easiest way to do it. It's impossible to do it. That's even impossible. It's by property. There are 5,000 properties. Everyone will pay their equal share. It's impossible to actually figure out who owes what. You have one person in the house, they may use the roads every day. Another house has 4 people in the house, they may never use the roads even half as much as you do. So it's fair enough for the government to say, listen, that's how we're going to divvy it up. You have a house, you're pitching in. That's it. That's lawful as long as it's itemized. It cannot be a general tax for the government to take and just keep it in, or we'll use it later. Okay. The other thing is you're allowed to tax the people for the police and for the army. Safety on the inside, safety on the outside. Can't have a general tax like this. All right, can you have taxes for emergencies? Probably through Fatawa. AK says that there's a Pakistani version of anime. I'm sure there could be anything, right?
Yeah, this guy's saying like anime life is so much better than the real world that the real world basically becomes miserable and dull by comparison.
Wow.
Yeah, so essentially all of your there's so much out there that you can really find any of your dreams and desires made into a show, right? Like.
Yep. Can one eat at a restaurant that serves alcohol but does not put alcohol in the food? I could say that if there is a certainty that there's no alcohol in the food, then your food would be halal. As for going to such a place and benefiting it, that could be questionable. That could be questionable. It could be questionable. Why might a person continuously have dreams that come true? Simply could be Allah knows best that it's a gift that Allah gave them to see if He's going to be thankful, or to warn them, things like that, to show them that He's near to them. Allah knows best. Can a woman eat dried placenta after childbirth for the nutrients? The answer is no. We do not eat or benefit from other humans. We didn't cover that actually. The one animal, the one creature, you're not allowed to eat them ever, even if you're going to die. If we're on an island and we're about to die and one of us died and the fire is going right there, can I cook him and eat him? No, you die instead. Can never do that. Cannot take the human as a source of benefit. How do you advise friends and family don't have an issue with eating non-zabiha? Many believe there are opinions that permit it. That's a big problem. I'm telling you, it's a huge problem. And I would have to advise you to come up with unique methods of nicely not doing this, such as buying the meat yourself for your mom and dad, if that's what we're doing. What are the other methods? Try to convince your parents or your family. Here's a question about biting your nails. Is it haram? No, it's just a bad habit. We're not saying it's haram. Do two people eat them? No, you shouldn't eat your skin. Here's the problem. The common Muslim, when he sees a sheikh in a beard wearing a thobe and a turban, and the sheikh tells him, say Bismillah and eat, at that point, the sin is on the sheikh for such a fatwa. That's one of the fatwa out there that is very popular, but across all the four madhabs, it's not allowed. It's not allowed. It's a fatwa that is batil. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to go. What is the ruling on scrolling Twitter in the bathroom if there is a chance of Quran popping up? It's actually one of the bad habits that many people have got into to prolong their stay in the bathroom. The bathroom used to be that people used to squat and your entire intestines were squeezed, and it's like squeezing a sponge. You spent very little time in the bathroom because that method of going to the bathroom, it just empties you out right away. There's no negotiation happening. And on top of that, it was not very comfortable position to sit in. So you did that and left right away. That's the preferred thing. The bathroom is not a place to spend time and unwind yourself, although it has been for many people. But if you were to come upon a verse of Quran, let's say you're standing in the bathroom brushing your teeth and you scroll and see some Quran, you just keep scrolling because it would be not respectful to engage in any religious spiritual behavior in such a place. All right, a lot of other questions, so many questions. How to be grateful for true dreams. Give shukr, help people. Give sadaqah, smile at people, be thankful in that manner. And pray extra rak'at. Pray extra rak'at. Pray nafilah. Addiction to this is a problem. I actually want to start a camp. I want to do a summer camp that entails literally nothing other than going out to a beautiful campsite. You get your phone for 15 minutes in the day and 15 minutes in the night to call your parents. And then you hand it back. And then there's very few arranged things except you guys got to cook your own food, come up with your own games, not guided. It's not a guided thing for teenagers. You got to guide yourself. Figure like the old days. You went outside, you found your friends, you came up with a game. Why do they have to be guided and everything? Right? Just prayer times. And then we help them buy the food because we have to buy the supplies. You grill it on your own. Right? And let them actually experience that again. You do that. I want to do that for one full week. 7 full days. You come Saturday, we go Saturday, we come back the next Saturday evening. And just hang out, right? Go hiking, go swimming, whatever.
Someone said Lord of the Flies.
Lord of the Flies, yeah. Actually, there was a true version of Lord of the Flies. You know that? But it was the opposite of what the guy Lord of the Flies, he was a guy who said he believed that humans were vicious by nature and that very few people were good by nature. But here's 6 teenagers were discovered living on a South Pacific island named Atta. The man who found them was an Australian adventurer named Peter Warner. He was shocked to learn that they had gone missing 15 months before he found them. For a year and 3 months, they had gone missing. This was in 1966. What did they do? Well, they were only 6, first of all. The first thing that they said they did, we selected a leader. They were teenagers. All of them look like they're from age 15 to 18. The first thing they did, they selected a leader. The second thing they did, they divided up the jobs. The third thing they did, they agreed on a daily schedule. These are not some Ivy League kids. These are some regular old kids, right? Amongst the things that they did to pass the time was art, by taking stone and etching away at stone and making sculptures. They created a gym. They took sticks, a big stick, and they wrapped it with fibers for weight. So they had sessions for weight training. They had sessions for art. And what would they do every night? They would make a fire and they would sing around it to keep their spirits up. I wonder if there are interviews with them, like later in life, them telling, but this Australian guy discovered them and he took them home. Or he called for them to be taken back home. Ladies and gentlemen, we're done for today's segment. Jazakumullah khairan.